All right, welcome everyone. So this topic today has been one that I've been asked quite a bit. I can sense everyone is fucking over it. They're fed up because I'm with you. I freaking feel you, okay? And it is how to please everyone at dinner. Well, I just want to straight up come onto the podcast and say, you can't. And I don't fucking know, to be honest. Honestly, I know everyone's like, all right, see a bitch. Like, let's go. I'm out of here. I don't need to listen to any further. I thought you had this magic spell and magic, tips and tricks. And suddenly everyone was going to eat everything at dinner. But let's be serious. I don't fucking think that's ever going to be possible, to be honest. So many times when I sit down to map out my meals, I'm just like, oh, I really want to make this, but this child will not fucking eat this. This one doesn't eat that. And I'm sick of eating the same shit just to please freaking everyone. So now that I can't fix the problem, and we've encountered that, let's talk a little bit about things that I do so that I can eat those kind of meals and cook them, offer them, probably get rejected, which is okay, because I just feel like over time, the rejection, they might warm up to it. And there has been instances where I will cook a certain dish time in, time out. One child will then be like, oh, actually, I might try it today. I might give it a go, and other times they're still just not there, which is okay. I mean, we were like that. Think about when we were younger. I'm sure there was many instances where our parents would make certain meals and would be like, that's fucking gross. And now we're like, oh my God, I did that. Remember you did it, but I made it with this sauce and did this and blah, blah, blah. So they grow out of it. However, short term, what I do is, you guys are going to be like, oh, really, Marilyn? I build my freezer stash. So what do I mean by that? So I generally have things in the freezer as well on standby that I can incorporate to certain meals. So if I'm going to be cooking certain dishes, let's just use fish as an example. My daughter does eat it. My son isn't a massive fan of baked fish. He'll sort of like pick at it, depends the kind of fish as well. I will have things in the freezer that I could also put in, as a side dish or incorporate into the meals so that he will probably eat elements of it, whether that's certain kind of veggies, whether that is, some crumbed fish. Like I crumb my own. I don't buy that dirty shit in a box because I don't know. They love them fish fingers. I swear, I'm like, they freaking reek. I don't understand how these kids love fucking fish fingers, but I will, look, admittedly, I do crumb and bake my own fish. And I'll build that freezer stash and my son will eat it. But if it's like a baked fish without a crumb, he won't want to fucking know it, right? So I will have stuff like that on standby. So while I'm baking ours, I can just pop a couple on the tray next to it and drizzle some oil. That's if I do. Some other things that I like to pop into the freezer and make in bulk that we obviously can have for dinner, as well as, making for the kids, is sausage rolls. Sausage rolls are another thing. And that way I can stash so many veggies into that mince mixture and make my life a lot easier. Chicken schnitzel, that's another thing. So I buy either tenderloins or breast pieces. I don't use an egg wash. I know. Oh, what do you mean you don't? I use Greek yogurt. It tenderizes the chicken amazingly. So I will dunk the chicken pieces in Greek yogurt. And then I'll have like a breadcrumb mixture that I then crumb it. So in that, I put some fresh herbs. I actually put some like lemon thyme, parsley. I put some grated Parmesan or pecorino. Sometimes I'll put some dry spices, some sesame seeds. I just really try to make things flavorsome as well, and just open their palates so that when they do go to eat certain other dishes that I cook, their palates have kind of tasted elements of my spices and whatnot. So there are a couple of things that I kind of pop into the freezer and have on standby. There are some other cultural foods, you know, that family does, like kebab and stuff like that. Empanadas is another one that's in my 2-ingredient dough cookbook, the 1 dough 10 recipe. I do empanadas. So you could either do the filling and pop them in, obviously, the dough, or you could just use puff pastry or short crust pastry. Short crust pastry, that was a tongue twister. I can't even talk now, tongue twister. Short crust pastry, you could pop the filling in there. It's a beautiful filling that I do. And I have obviously mince, there's olives, there's that salty and sweet element because you use currants in there as well, which is beautiful. And so I do that, and that way they're just easily baked, and we have them on the side. So if, for example, I really want a nice winter warmer soup, some my kids will eat at, like they'll take the chunks of, like, say, for example, sausage out of it. And then I'll bake some empanadas next to it. And that way, you know, we're all eating something out of the plate. And that's just little things that I do that makes dinner a bit easier. Because at the end of the day, I can't force my children to eat. It's sort of like that scenario where you say, you know, you could take the horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink it, sort of thing. I also don't want to be cooking 20 things at a time or 20 dishes. But if I could just forward think things a little bit, make a bit whatever I'm cooking. So I will do, for example, you're like, but who has time? Who has time to make empanada? Just, I will cook it and have it for dinner one night, but I will double batch it. So I always say forward think things, make things a little bit ahead of a time. You know, so if you're already making something for dinner, you just double or triple batch it. And that way you're building up your freezer stash to have things on standby and ready to go. It just makes dinner less stressful, and it enables you to be able to eat things that you actually like. Because I'm sorry, I do feel like most times when I am in a rut and a lull, it's because I'm not cooking things that I actually want to eat and enjoy eating. It's things that I'm cooking to please everyone else in the family, to just get them to eat. And it just doesn't sit with me well either. And I'm a big believer that time and time again, kids will probably end up eating it. They will at some point, probably when they move out and come calling us and saying, Mom, can you actually make that minestrone that I fucking refuse to eat for the last like 18 years of my life? Yeah, sure. I'll make 20 kilos for you. That'll be the day. So anyway, sorry that I can't fix all your problems and I can't make a unicorn appear and help you feed your children. However, I do hope that by some suggestions that I have given you, that you could definitely just forward think a little bit of things that you've done in the past that you know that your kids love. Build that freezer stash and make your life a little bit fucking easier, and get out of that rut and lull and start cooking things that you like. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised when you don't give a shit when the kids come back and eat. Some are a little bit more stubborn than others. Cough, cough, my son. Anyway, till next week and another episode. If you haven't joined the Facebook community group, The Woo in Food, please do so. It is for free. Just simply join. You can find me on Instagram at rosados.casa. Obviously, my website, cookbooks on there, all the jazz. Subscribe to this channel, give a rating, because that's how this stuff works, doesn't it? And if there's anything that I can assist you further, feel free to DM me, reach out, share this episode to another mum that's pulling a fucking hair out in a supermarket aisle, wondering what the fuck is she going to cook for dinner. Can have a laugh together. Until then, ciao.